the Zoom lady. Okay, so that is good. Alrighty, you know what? I'll get started at 7:02 just to keep you all ladies on time as well too. So do you all have a cup of tea or something warm to drink or something relaxing? Put your feet up and just take this all in. Hopefully you've got a nice quiet space and no one's bothering you and you have time to really kind of, give this hour to yourself as well too. So hopefully that's good. Okay, I have 7:02, so I am going to get started. And I'm just going to check periodically just to make sure there's no one waiting, especially the first few minutes, because I know it might be different for some people getting on. So I want to just check periodically just to make sure that, oh, and there's somebody else coming in there too, as well too. Okay, so we will get started. Alrighty, so anyway, thank you all for being here tonight. I appreciate you spending your time and, devoting to that as well too. So we are officially going to get started, everyone. So welcome to the 3 secrets that all midlife women, I'm just going to stop my video as well too. So you don't need to look at me. You can look at my slides and listen to my voice. So we'll welcome everyone to get started. So I'm going to welcome to the 3 secrets all midlife women need to know if they want to improve their sleep and actually wake up feeling energized and refreshed. And I'm really glad that you're here. I really am. And I don't take it lightly that you've committed to spending the next 60 minutes with me. As I mentioned before, this is interactive training. We're going to have a conversation together, so make sure that you do use the chat or that comment box, and we'll keep that open so that we can have a type of dialogue, which just makes it more interesting as well too. All right, so let's dive into the 3 secrets that all midlife women need to know if they want to improve their sleep and wake up feeling energized and refreshed. So as I said before, this is where, you're here, I know, because you want the 3 secrets to improving your sleep. So it's super important that you try to block out distractions. Really give this time back to yourself. I kind of find, at this point, most of us are kind of busy with things and we rarely give ourselves that hour undisturbed. So if you can, put your phone in your room, close all your other tabs. And, if you need to, put a disturb sign on your door, depending, you might not have little kids at home anymore. But hopefully you've kind of got this time for yourself as well too, just so you can really focus on the training, which I think is important. So on that note, I do have a special gift for you too. Everyone kind of likes presents, and I know as a woman sometimes we're the last ones to get them. So everything I'm going to share with you is equally important. But if you stay to the end of the class, I will also send you a free training that I have as well too. And the class, that training is called It's 2 a.m. I'm wide awake. What do I do now? So I will be sending that to you for the ladies that do. Stick around to the very end as well too. All right. Just letting somebody else in there too. Okay, so here's my promise to you today. I am going to show you how you can shift from feeling like you will never sleep again to knowing some of the key components to falling and staying asleep so that you actually can wake up. I'm just gonna. Can you? Yeah.
I swear.
I'm just gonna move it all there. Okay. So you can wake up feeling energized and excited to start a new day, allowing you to live your life, your midlife years, in a healthy and productive way. Does that sound good? And specifically, you're going to discover why what you've been doing for years to fall asleep and stay asleep hasn't worked. And instead, I'm really going to walk you through what does. Imagine being able to skip all that Googling, trial and error, and just do what actually works. I know when I learned the method that I'm going to share with you today, it actually changed my life. It certainly changed my clients' lives as well. And I also know that it can change yours too. So type yes in the chat if that sounds good to you. Just gonna get the chat out again. How does that sound to everybody? Yes, yes, yes. Good. Okay. So everybody wants to know the secrets there too. Okay. So are you someone who is, tired of falling asleep with the TV on, thinking this will help you fall asleep easier? Are you someone who's fed up Googling, why can't I sleep? And really trying to figure this out on your own? Are you currently taking sleep medication, whether it be prescription or over the counter, and or melatonin, thinking that this is the only way you can get to sleep? Or can you relate to any of those? Have anybody been in that situation too? Trying to Google, why can't I fall asleep? Or thinking that you kind of need to take medication. I'm not sure if anybody's been like that as well too, but those are common things that I hear from a lot of women as well too. All right. Yes, minus the TV. Yep. Okay. I know some people I've heard some husbands like the TV on that kind of lulls them to sleep as well too. So TV is kind of the one sometimes I've heard as well too. Well, if you're confused as to why you're no longer sleeping and feel like you're the only one wide awake night after night and you will never sleep again, I want to change that for you as well too. So if you're not in your head in agreement to any of those previous points, I promise you I'm not stalking you or watching you. But I promise that whatever you've been doing and it's not working, it's really not your fault. It's really hard to know what's right, who to trust. And if it felt anything like I did back then, I would have done just about anything to get a good night's sleep, except nothing seemed to be working. Just gonna let somebody else in here. Because the real problem is that even if you are taking sleep medication, whether it be over the counter or prescription to fall asleep, it won't really solve the problem of why you aren't sleeping. You aren't really getting to the root cause. And when you continue to use sleep medication over and over again, it actually makes the problem worse. The medication actually causes sedation, not sleep, and you will not receive the restorative benefits of sleep. You often will feel groggy in the morning, then you may need caffeine to feel alert again, and then you will have difficulty falling asleep at night. And then this vicious cycle continues and continues. And also, your body will start to depend on using this. And eventually, the medication will cause a type of dependency. And when you stop using this medication, your sleep may become worse. I'm not sure, has anybody else experienced this as well? Type yes in the comments if any of you have experienced this, if you've taken sleep medication before too, where it just stops working and actually makes things more challenging and it just doesn't work. I'm not sure if anybody has had that before. Because really, the real problem is, I'm just gonna need somebody here. I'll give you an example of a friend of mine, Kathy, who experienced this firsthand. My friend Kathy worked at a financial institution and she had quite a bit of responsibility and pressure. She prided herself on getting results, was a really high achiever, and worked hard. She started to notice that she was making mistakes at work, mistakes that were starting to cost her company money. She was also not sleeping well and wondered if this was causing her lack of focus and her brain fog that she was experiencing. At night, her mind was active, thinking about the next day's to-do list, ruminating about her errors as she tossed and turned, frustrated what felt like hours to fall asleep. She felt tired all of the time. She knew she needed a good night's sleep, so she went to her doctor, explained her situation, and was prescribed sleep medication. She took the medication because she was desperate to sleep and felt that she needed to be, kind of sharp at work. She was secretly worried she may lose her job. What she didn't expect was that she often had difficulty waking up in the morning as she felt groggy, nauseous, and not like herself. She was getting to work later than normal and felt like she needed additional caffeine to offset the sleep medication from the night before. This pattern repeated itself daily, and eventually she was in a difficult predicament. She felt like she needed the medication to fall asleep at night, but hated how she felt the next day. Also, she was having difficulty recalling important facts that were required for her job. Eventually, she knew she had to make a change and deal with why she was having such a difficult time falling asleep. Her cortisol hormone was sky high, and she had little to no stress management tools to support her body. With time, patience, and being more aware of how her lifestyle affected her sleep, Kathy now knows how to handle her work stress. She has self-care strategies that she implements daily, especially when she now feels overwhelmed and tired. Her cortisol hormone is now where it should be, high in the morning, low in the evening, and she is grateful to be sleeping easier with what she has learned. So I'm not sure if anybody has experienced that as well too. If you've taken, sleep meds, if you felt groggy or, just not like yourself at all. If so, type yes in the comments and let me know if you've had this experience as well too. So because what I'm going to share with you today is, I believe, one of the fastest and the simplest way to be able to fall asleep. So you'll wake up every day actually feeling like you have the energy to work out in the morning. You'll have the energy to make it through the day, function without having to take an afternoon nap. You'll be able to feel good and rested and actually get stuff done. You'll be able to stop snacking all day long because you haven't slept and actually stick to your eating plan and just, kind of feel alive again and feel joy and just feel like yourself again, which is huge, right? So that's what I'm going to share with you as well tonight. So before we go any further, I probably should introduce myself. I'm Krista. I'm the founder of My Midlife Mentor and the Sleep Better Tonight Method. I am a certified sleep science coach, and I'm also a registered nutritional therapist. I have a bachelor's degree in kinesiology, and I am now a retired dental hygienist where I worked in clinical practice for over 27 years. I now support exclusively midlife women who are in perimenopause, menopause, who want to achieve restful and restorative sleep without the use of prescription sleep medication. So I do have a pretty diverse and well-rounded education. I have years and personal experience in the health and wellness field. And I too myself am a midlife woman, and I have felt the uncertainty about what midlife can bring. I've completed 2 marathons, and I've been featured on podcasts as a guest sleep expert. And I had a time when I couldn't fall asleep and stay asleep. So this really allows me to understand and sympathize with your sleep struggles. I still continue to pursue higher education into midlife women's health. I strongly believe that sleep is the biggest game changer into the lives of midlife women. I really do want to make this my mission and have a significant impact on the lives of women worldwide by restoring their precious sleep. Like I mentioned, I am a midlife woman, and I share some of the same struggles that you may do as well. I have aging parents, I have young adult kids. I'm, planning and saving for retirement. I'm trying to maintain strong personal relationships while still prioritizing my own needs as well too. So I would say about 4.5 years ago, was when I was struggling with not sleeping. I was having difficulty falling asleep at night, and when I finally did fall asleep, I often woke up in the middle of the night. To make matters worse, my alarm was set at 5:20 each morning. I was exhausted before I even started my day. At that point, I was working at my dental hygiene job where I saw patients back to back, and I started each morning at 8 a.m. At that point, we were in the middle of a house build, which meant that I had to commute from work using public transportation, which was really stressful in itself because, being a hygienist, I had to be on time and no one else could do my job. So I had to leave really early. I was also in charge of making all the house decisions, which if anybody's gone through a renovation is stressful in itself. So after work, I was running around looking at tiles and light fixtures and, all that stuff that went along with that. Also, my husband was dealing with a very, very stressful work environment. And I was actually really worried about him. I didn't want to burden him with extra stress that, came up from the house build. And I just didn't, that arose. So I kept a lot of things to myself at that point. Also, my daughter was 17 at that time, and she was an exchange student, and she was living in Japan for a year. So I always had that low-level worry of how she was making out, being her mother. And as mothers, if you have daughters, I was always the one she kind of vented to when she was having a hard time and needed, it was homesick as well too. My son at that point was attending university outside of our province, but thankfully he was adjusting well. So at that point, I was stressed, I was overwhelmed, I was anxious, and I was oh so tired. There were moments when I really wanted to just kind of run away from my life, even though I knew that was not an option or a proper solution. So at the end of every day, workday, by my office, there was a Whole Foods that I would walk by on my way to the commuter train at the end of the day. My lack of sleep from the night before, the stress of dealing with patients all day long, and this nagging feeling that I needed to make a career change made me want to eat everything, especially sweet or salty carbs. I went into Whole Foods every day, and I kind of justified, even though I ate all the samples. I ate everything there too. And I deep down, like even being a nutritionist, I knew what was going on wasn't right, but I really couldn't help myself. I was just drawn to this. I was having super strong cravings day after day, and it was not willpower at this point, and I knew that. So each day, even though I told myself I was not going to do it, I would walk into Whole Foods, buy the biggest bag of popcorn, eat all the things, and then make my way back to the train where I would scarf down the bag of popcorn while I commuted home. I always threw away the evidence before I got home, and then I would have dinner with everyone. I found myself getting to bed really early just because I was just so exhausted, and I just wanted to be alone. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I just wanted to be left alone. So I would often just go on my phone to really distress. I did not feel like socializing at all. I just wanted to be on my own. And if I was being totally honest, I couldn't understand why I couldn't sleep at night, because what I didn't realize what was going on with my hormones. So that was me day after day for quite some time. I knew, because I had a health and wellness training, that what was going on was not good and something had to change. But honestly, I felt overwhelmed to where to even begin. I was also approaching my 50th birthday at that point, and I had moments where I thought, maybe this is just what it's like maybe this is normal at the middle of life. Although I really didn't want to believe that's what it was. So I'm not sure, has anybody else had that happen to them before? Have anything I said there, has that have you been in that situation as well too, where you just kind of felt overwhelmed and resonates? Yeah, I know. So I know, I know I wasn't alone, but yeah, it was kind of not a great time for me. And yeah, it was hard. So yeah, there I was totally exhausted. I was overwhelmed and unsure about what to do. I wanted to run away and not really think or care about anyone but myself. I was stressed. I was moody at that point. I was carrying extra weight, extra weight. I was antisocial, and my concentration at work was compromised, which actually was the thing that scared me the most, because I needed to be sharp at work looking at x-rays, and I could tell my brain was not as it should be. So anyway, I remember the night that I thought, okay, I needed to figure this out. I was so tired, and I didn't know how I could face another day feeling like I did. I was complaining to my husband. He asked if I wanted a sleeping pill because he too was having sleep difficulties, as I mentioned, due to his work stress. His doctor had given him some to help him sleep. For a moment, I considered it because I just wanted to sleep. But I was actually shocked at myself because I had this health and wellness background, and I knew deep down that taking a sleeping pill was not a solution to the problem. It really was only a Band-Aid solution. I am not judging anyone that takes them, but the thought that I considered taking one for me was my wake-up moment. I knew I needed to get to the root cause of this. Deep down, I knew this was going to be difficult, and I would have to face some uncomfortable truths, but I couldn't keep going on the way I was going. I was tired of being tired, and something needed to change. So that is when I decided no more. I decided that I was going to figure out how to sleep in the middle of life, that getting to this time in my life did not mean I would never sleep again, and it didn't matter how long it took me or what I had to do. I didn't want to accept that poor sleep was a given when we get to this time in our life. So I made a decision that I was going to figure out how to fall asleep and stay asleep so I wouldn't have to take any prescription sleep medication. And that's when I started the journey that got me to where I am today. Here with you, sharing my story, sharing my methodology that I use with my clients, so that you can skip over the trial and error and the struggle that I went through. I want you all to have restorative sleep throughout your entire life so that you can wake up feeling energized and really just live the life you desire. So I'm grateful that I made that decision, and otherwise I'd still probably be trying like random sleep hacks that I tried to find online and just getting more and more frustrated. So as that saying goes, when you know more, when you know better, you do better. So I'm not sure if anybody has felt like that as well too. Yeah, I know it's not fun. I'm just going to check to make sure no one else is there too. So even though now I am able to fall asleep easily and I am able to sleep through the night, it took time to figure out, no question at all. I had to test out different things, strategies to see which worked for me and my body. And honestly, I struggled for a while too. I wanted to know what to do specifically. Don't do this, don't do that. I was already tired and overwhelmed. So having the energy and the brain fog to kind of spend more time, trying to figure this out was another task that honestly at times it felt a little daunting to me. It did take a lot of time and patience, and there was no way I could have arrived at the Sleep Better Tonight method without having invested in my education, and also being trained in sleep science and my nutrition, and actually kind of going through it personally myself as well too. But as I mentioned, I was pretty committed to figuring it out, and I was not going to go back on my old ways. I knew that. So when I discovered through all of this trial and error that it wasn't that I was turning 50 or that I would no longer be able to sleep again, or that I didn't have enough willpower to say no to the food and the cravings, or that I had to feel overwhelmed by putting everybody else ahead of everybody else's needs and wants before my own. I actually discovered that none of those things were normal or helpful. I figured that out. In fact, I had a hormonal imbalance. And once I started to address that, everything kind of started to change for me. And I want to share how I did that all with you so that you can kind of also skip over the trial and error too, because there really is a simpler way to get restful and restorative sleep. So let me know type yes in the comments if you are up for a simpler way of doing things. I'm just going to have a sip of tea. Yes. Heck yes. Yes. Okay. I get it. Alrighty. So I'm just going to take you on a couple, just give you a case study here too, of someone that I was working with, Heather. So Heather was not sleeping. She had constant sugar cravings, kind of like I was doing, low energy, and was putting on weight each year. She was frustrated, she was tired, and experienced bouts of depression as well too. She didn't even know what to address first because she had multiple symptoms, but lack of sleep for her was her biggest pain point. Her mother was also suffering from Alzheimer's, which she had heard on the news, the connection between sleep deprivation and Alzheimer's, which undoubtedly concerned her, and she really wanted to minimize her risk. She had tried NyQuil, drinking a glass of wine to calm herself down, and watching TV to help her fall asleep. But for her, the big aha moment for Heather was realizing that her food choices and her hormones were actually causing her cravings for sweets and feeling tired, and why she wanted to eat all the time and why she was awake at night, because really her body was looking for another sugar fix in the middle of the night. She did not understand the power of her hormones. And once Heather's hormones were balanced and her blood sugar issues were addressed, she learned how to make proper food choices, and in turn, her sleep improved. Her 2 a.m. wake up subsided, her energy skyrocketed, and a nice side effect was she actually lost a little bit of weight. So imagine if you could sleep 7 hours straight, have that energy to really live your best life again and feel like yourself again and be able to function and do all those things. So type yes in the comments or type me actually, if this is something that you would like to achieve as well. Okay, so I'm going to talk. Yes, Susan, I will get to some of that too. 7 hours sounds like a dream. I know it is once you get it. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 3 core concepts for sleep as well too, and just so you understand that too. So the first one really is sleep is a symptom and it's not a cause. So I think most of us have experienced symptoms in our body from, time to time that we notice, and for most likely we kind of ignore because they don't really have a significant impact on our day-to-day lives. We tend to just kind of put up with them and just keep moving along. So symptoms such as fatigue, anxiety, craving sugar, brain fog, and difficulty losing weight are common ones that a lot of midlife women experience. We also hear our friends discuss similar symptoms, so we start to normalize it and think that all middle-aged women must just experience these annoyances. We hope that these symptoms will just go away. But I want you to look at it like this. These symptoms are our body's way of speaking to us. These cues are trying to tell us something. Just because these symptoms are common does not mean they are normal. When we don't really address or understand and or listen to what our body's telling us, we slowly disconnect with our body until these symptoms become louder and louder. Difficulty falling and staying asleep is your body's way of getting your attention. Sleep and hormones are closely interconnected. Restful sleep balances hormones, and balanced hormones will allow you to sleep easily. The relationship to each other is profound. Our hormones are powerful messengers that signal when something is out of balance. When we don't listen to what our body is trying to tell us, i.e. our hormones are imbalanced, this will literally keep us up at night. When we do enter midlife, our sex hormones, estrogen and progesterone, fluctuate, making it more difficult to sleep and to cope with stress. And these hormones are indeed sleep promoting, which may be why sleep was easier when we were younger. Midlife is a time when we have added pressures and stress in our life. These challenges, in addition to declining hormones, make sleep more challenging. But this is also the time in our life when we really need to take really good care of our physical, emotional, and mental health the most. So, for example, if you do wake up in the middle of the night, it is your body's way. It's your hormone insulin maybe telling you that you have blood sugar issues. Your body's on that blood sugar roller coaster, which continues into the night. Your body senses that there's danger because you haven't eaten recently, which will then secrete cortisol, which is your stress hormone, which is designed to protect you. Cortisol is also a stimulant and will wake you up in the middle of the night and may even make getting back to sleep more difficult. So if your diet is filled with processed carbohydrates and sugar, your blood sugar will definitely be impacted, and this will wake you up at night. Having stable blood sugar will allow your body to sleep through the night. Difficulty falling asleep. When we have a difficult time falling asleep at night, our hormones are again speaking to us. If we are stressed all day long and not dealing with difficult situations and our people, our brain and body will not relax to allow our body to settle into sleep. Bedtime really is the first time of the day when we are quiet, alone, and not distracted. When we bottle up our feelings or emotions all day long, we will be forced to kind of deal with this stuff by our body keeping us up at night. We really do need frequent stress management tools to diffuse this stress. We may even need to make some changes in our life and also deal with what we need to deal with. And I will use myself as an example. So if we take you back to where I was before, when I couldn't sleep, I was doing everything to take care of everybody else's needs but my own. I was worried about my husband and his work stress. I was worried about my daughter in Japan. I was dealing with the house build and this nagging feeling that literally was keeping me up at night, that I should leave my job and go after my intuition of helping midlife women. I felt guilty about leaving a good paying job where my husband was clearly not happy with his. I worried about the money I would be giving up and if I could really make this idea of mine a reality. I had little time to myself, I had few stress diffusing tools, and I was reluctant to tell anyone that I was struggling, as I didn't really want them to worry about me. When I look back now, I can totally see why I couldn't sleep. My body and my mind were yelling at me, Krista, you need to make some changes. Does this resonate with you at all? Is there something you're not dealing with? Most of us, if we're totally honest and open, know the answer to this. But for most of us, it's uncomfortable. And many midlife women are putting everyone ahead of themselves, and they can no longer sleep. Once I really learned healthy stress management tools and advocated for myself, my stress levels decreased, my hormones became balanced, and I could fall asleep again. So just to recap, again, I want you to know that poor sleep is a cue that something's off. You might want to think of that as an opportunity to kind of really get to the root cause of what is going on. Hormones and sleep are closely intertwined. So we need good sleep to balance our hormones, and we need balanced hormones to get good sleep. The two go hand in hand. So fortunately, we do have a lot of control over many of our hormones by what we eat, how we move our body, how we think, and how we deal with our stress. If we don't deal with what our hormones and our body is trying to tell us, our symptoms could become louder and louder, potentially leading to more serious consequences. So please, please, please listen to what your body is trying to tell you. So balanced hormones, again, makes falling asleep easier. So again, we are designed to sleep and restore our bodies at night. Even though, yes, there's going to be times when sleep can become more problematic, like an acute stress. And that happens to everybody. But I'm not talking about that. It really should not be an ongoing issue that goes on and on and on. Our bodies need restorative sleep to perform at their best, and depriving our bodies of sleep can have serious implications. So I'm just going to go another. Just going to have a sip of tea again here. Okay, so course concept number 2. Let me just, yep, everyone's in. Okay, I just want to double check. I didn't have anyone in the waiting room there. Okay, so core concept number 2. So for millions of years, the human body has lived in harmony with its natural circadian rhythm, which is our body's internal 24-hour clock. It hasn't really been until very recent that our modern world has started to fall away from these, basic principles, and now our sleep is suffering because of it. We need natural light in the day and darkness at night to keep our circadian rhythm intact. Cortisol is impacted by natural light and gives us energy, which is beneficial, especially for midlife women who often complain of low energy. Cortisol, which again is a stimulant, gives us that, get up and go feeling, makes us want to do things. We want our cortisol levels to be high in the morning and low in the evening to allow our body to sleep. Today, our society receives very little natural light during the day. We really are a light-deprived society. We need light to signal to our brain that it is indeed daytime and let's get stuff done. And this is how nature intended us to live. Today, most work offices use artificial light, and most individuals do not spend enough time outside like our ancestors did, gathering and preparing food. Many of us are light deficient, which adversely affects our circadian rhythm and ultimately our sleep. I recommend getting morning light as soon as you wake up. Open your blinds. Let the sun and the light into your home. If you can get outside for a morning walk, this is a wonderful thing to do, and this will certainly help to reset your circadian rhythm. I recommend 30 minutes without wearing a hat or sunglasses. We want the retina in our eyes to signal to our brain that it is indeed daytime. If you can't get out for a walk, just aim to sit outside and have your morning beverage close to your window. If you're at work, can you get outside even for a little while, a little break? Just find ways to be proactive and get more daytime light into your life. This will help you sleep at night, I promise. Just reading some of your issues. Okay, falling asleep. Yeah, so this is a big one, ladies, and it almost seems too simple. And that's why sometimes people don't do it, because it seems too simple. But if you're going to remember one thing too, just getting that light into your eyes, like open your blinds, looking at the horizon. The weather's still nice, at least where I am. So just sitting outside, it does make a big, big difference. So that's one of the things you can do to kind of kickstart your circadian rhythm, and your body knows that, okay, you know what, it's daytime right now. So which will give you more energy. So again, really, I can't underestimate how important that is. And it doesn't seem like it would be a big deal, but it really does. Okay, most of us are spending far too much time indoors. versus you think back to our grandparents, right? Or when we were kids and stuff, playing outside. So again, it's important. All right, so on the other end of the spectrum is our evenings, all right? And due to the invention of the light bulb, our ability to stay up past sunset has increased. Many people are now on electronic devices in the evening because, work responsibilities, we're seeking entertainment or finding ways to really disconnect from the stresses of life. And if you think back, even the term midnight, midnight means the middle of the night. And today, many of us are checking emails close to midnight, maybe watching an episode of Netflix. And we're not halfway through our sleep cycle at this point. Some people are just going to bed at this point. And then we wonder why we are a sleep-deprived society. So light in the evening will slow or stop the production of our sleep hormone melatonin, which gives you that sleepy feeling and lets your body know it's going to fall asleep. So if you have low melatonin, this will make falling asleep and staying asleep more difficult. Our natural production of melatonin does decrease as we age. So, FYI, that is a factor as well too. However, we just need to be more proactive and protective about keeping our melatonin levels intact by sleeping in cool, dark environments. So I like to tell people, pretend you're sleeping in a cave, right? You want it cool and you want it dark. And getting off electronic devices before bed. I recommend at least an hour before bed, and that's what I aim for myself. When we really get back to how nature intended us to live, we can actually start to shift our sleep. I know it's not really your fault that, it's modern life and this is how it's kind of evolved, which makes it more difficulty with our sleep, but you really need to be protective of your evenings that way. Most of us don't really make that connection between looking at your phone. You've probably heard about it, but it's just really kind of making the awareness of why you might have difficulty falling asleep. Because this is even more important for midlife women with naturally decreasing melatonin levels, this is why we really need to safeguard its production in the evenings. And one other benefit to maintaining healthy levels of melatonin is that it's also a powerful antioxidant and it's protective against breast cancer. So you really want to make melatonin your friend and allow it to be produced each and every night. So if you're having difficulty falling and staying asleep because of our phone, computer, tablet, e-reader, whatever, it really is kind of a rather new phenomenon, which even probably wasn't an option a decade ago. If you think back to what we were doing a decade ago, but now you know. And once you understand and adapt to your body's internal clock, sleep will come easier and it will be more restorative and peaceful. And our bodies are quite amazing. They know how to protect us and heal us when they are given the right circumstances. So it's really us getting out of our way, which is what kind of really needs to happen as well there too. Okay. So I will give you an example of another client just to illustrate how important it is to get off your phone at night. So I had Lady Jen, and Jen struggled with falling asleep each night. It often took her at least 2 hours of tossing and turning to finally fall asleep. And not surprisingly, she didn't wake up feeling refreshed. She was sure she had insomnia. Once Jen understood how to work with and not against her circadian rhythm, which again is our body's natural internal 24-hour clock, kind of finally the light bulb moment went off for her. Her circadian rhythm was off because she was on her phone all evening, and this in turn delayed the release of her melatonin, which is her sleep hormone. When melatonin is delayed, sleep will be delayed. So once she understood and addressed how important it was to sync to this natural rhythm, her, I'm using quotes here, insomnia went away. You're awful at staying off your phone. I know, it's hard. But Susan, I will say this, you know what, it's better to get a good night's sleep. You just have to kind of do it. Baby steps. And that's what I when I work with people, it's, we kind of do it gradually. But you know what, and I sometimes try to get away with it myself too. I have a cutoff time. Usually my time is 9. And because I like to be like in bed, falling asleep at 10. And so my cutoff time is 9. So I'm pretty good about that, because if I go past 9, 9:15, 9:20, if I'm looking at something or doing work, and then I go to bed at 10, I can't sleep. And I know what it is. So again, it's that blue light. So I wish I could say it's easier, but it's really important to get off your devices, okay? Because if you're looking at your devices, that blue light will block your melatonin, and that's why it might take a while to fall asleep. Just because, again, if melatonin's delayed, your sleep will be delayed as well too. So it is really important as well. Okay. So core concept number 3, which is kind of, our day-to-day lifestyle choices, what we do on a day-to-day basis of women, which we can kind of not change, but just once you're aware of them, it will help you understand kind of some of those choices you're making, how it's undoubtedly affecting your sleep. So oftentimes we actually don't see the direct correlation until we kind of connect the dots to see why sleep may be impaired. I will discuss a few just of the more common things that I find a lot of women do on a daily basis and show you how they are affecting your sleep. Again, when we know better, we can do better. So this will allow you to connect the dots a little bit easier. So the factors that affect your sleep. There are numerous lifestyle factors that affect sleep. Blood sugar levels, which I discussed briefly already, stress levels, huge, and how we move our body will directly impact our sleep. Meal timing as well, drinking caffeine, drinking alcohol will also affect our sleep. And also midlife women, we have a lot of stresses in our life. Divorce, illness, taking care of sick or elderly parents, having adult kids live at home, and then they move back or they go home, all that, and especially the last little bit. And also we have work responsibilities. They really take a toll on a lot of women, especially the last 18 months, no question. Women need healthy self-care strategies such as taking time for oneself, setting boundaries, participating in joyful activities, and asking for help when it's needed. And that's really what I focused on in September in the Facebook group too, just really making sure we had strict self-care and boundaries as well, because it's something that I see is not, it's kind of lacking for a lot of women. So I wanted to pay a lot of attention to that this past month. Also, shifting our morning, evening routine to a more calm and peaceful time will also affect our sleep. Many lifestyle choices that enhance sleep are free, and with greater awareness in how to implement them, we can start to shift our sleep to healthier levels. Most women do not understand that what they are doing on a daily basis may be negatively impacting their sleep. So another one is movement and exercise. And these are key components to healthy sleep. Getting daily movement and regular exercise makes sleep come easier. Our bodies were designed to move daily. And this does not mean running marathons or killing yourselves in a gym, I promise. It just means movement, daily movement. Walking, again, especially outside, and remember we want that light and we want that sunlight, helps to also reduce our stress levels. It provides vitamin D, it resets our circadian rhythm, it helps to manage our blood sugar levels, and also provides energy. And again, it's free and available to everyone. If you think back to our grandmother's generation, they move their bodies far more often than today's society does. And, they weren't going to gyms or doing spin classes back then. So if you have an exercise that you currently enjoy, please continue doing this. Again, watch your intensity and your frequency so that you get the correct dose by not overdoing this, as this can be a hindrance to your sleep. But again, be mindful of, what you like to do. If you are a non-exerciser, start slow, but just be consistent. I will say this, people that move their bodies regularly have better sleep. So be aware of not exercising too close to bedtime, as this will increase your cortisol and adrenaline, which are stimulating and will keep you awake, which is not what we want. So if sleep is challenging, I usually recommend women kind of get their movement in earlier in the day. All right. So what can you do? Having a stressful life and reacting to these stressors, whether they're real or they are perceived, has a tremendous impact on our sleep. Finding stress-reducing techniques is imperative because there are so many stresses that women today face. There is no doubt that stress plays a huge role in many of our societies and how we live. We need to find ways to, have good stress management tools. For example, setting boundaries with your time and commitments so that you're not giving to everyone but yourself. Practicing regular self-care daily, asking for help when it's needed will help you to reduce your stress. If we don't reduce our stress, cortisol will always be on. And this hormone was not designed to be on 24/7. If you remember from earlier in the class, we want cortisol high in the morning, low in the evening to allow sleep to come naturally. I cannot understate how critical it is to be aware of stress and to, have some stress management tools and reduce whatever you can or by eliminating it. This directly impacts our sleep, and we do again have control over how we react to it as well. Also, drinking caffeine afternoon will make sleep more difficult. As we get older, caffeine takes longer to metabolize in our body, meaning that 2 p.m. coffee in the afternoon will be in our system at 10 or 11 p.m., and this will make falling asleep difficult. I suggest no caffeine after 12 p.m. to make sleep easier. Also, that evening glass of wine may be waking you up in the night. When we drink alcohol in the evening, our sleep will become more fragmented and will cause nighttime wakings. Drinking alcohol may make you feel like you're falling asleep easier, but your sleep will not be as restorative and restful as if you didn't drink it. Also, meal timing can also affect your sleep. If you eat later in the evening, your body will prioritize digesting your food and sleep may become more difficult. You certainly don't want to be starving when you go to bed, but you need time for the body to digest its food first before going to sleep. So as you can see, what we do during the day impacts our sleep at night. By having the awareness and the understanding about how everything is all connected, you may decide to shift some of your habits to allow for more peaceful sleep. Also, many of these lifestyle tips are free and available to all of us. I'm just going to get another sip here. Does anybody have any questions right now? I'm just going to take a little sip here. You can type them in the chat if you do. Nope, okay. I will keep going then. Okay, so let's review where we are. So just gonna go review the core concepts that I just went over, and just so you kind of can review that as well too. So number one is sleep is a symptom, and you've discovered that when we have difficulty falling and staying asleep, this is a sign from our body that is telling you that our hormones are imbalanced, and to look at it as an opportunity to kind of listen to what our body is trying to tell us. Core concept number two is your phone might be the problem. Your phone, when we live without our natural circadian rhythm, sleep will become more problematic. So we need light in the daytime and we need darkness in the evening. And when we live outside how nature intended us to live, sleep will become more challenging. And the last one, core concept number three, is, it's just kind of being aware of those daily decisions that we make on a day-to-day basis can unwittingly be causing your sleep challenges. And once you're aware of how these decisions may be affecting your sleep, you actually have the opportunity to kind of make a new choice to help your sleep as well too. All right. So I know most of you probably attended this class or showed up tonight because, I know you want to be able to fall asleep, you want to be able to stay asleep, and you want to wake up feeling refreshed and energized without feeling like you don't want to have to take sleep medication, because that doesn't help things, doesn't get to the root cause of what's going on. You want a simple way to get 7 hours of sleep and without trying random sleep. I'm just going to let somebody in here. You don't want to have, random sleep tips trying to find out what works. You want to stop feeling exhausted and moody and overwhelmed as well too. And you want energy during the day so you can actually work out in the morning, feel productive during the day, stay on track with your food plan, and, maybe work towards whatever goals you have and dreams that you might have for the second half of your life as well too. All right. So again, I had told you at the beginning of the class that my big promise for you was I promised by the end of the class, I was going to show you how you can make the shift from feeling like you will never sleep again to knowing some of the key components to falling and staying asleep, so that you actually can wake up energized and excited to start a new day, allowing you to live your midlife years in a healthy and productive way. Now, here's the thing I want you to remember though too. Everything I've shared with you today isn't some random theory or some idea that I think might work. Everything I walked you through tonight works. It certainly worked for me, and it also has worked for many of my clients who pretty much all started from a similar spot many of you are in right now too. And I'm not special, and they aren't special. I think we can all agree we all have busy lives. We have job responsibilities. We have families to take care of, parents that need our support. And if they can do it, I'm actually confident you can as well too. So would you like me to help you get started on that restful and restorative sleep so that you can get your energy back as well too? So type yes in the comments if you would like me to help you get sleeping again. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Alrighty. So now you have a choice too. So you can continue to do what you've been doing by Googling, why can't I sleep? Hoping that this may work, even though it probably hasn't up to this point. Or you can also choose a simpler way and use the Sleep Better Tonight method that comes with a proven sleep system and accountability so that you can get to your goal. So really the choice is yours. So throughout the class, you may have heard me mention the Sleep Better Tonight method. And this is how I can help you achieve your goal of restful sleep at night so that you can have more energy during the day. Would it be okay if I just took a few minutes and just share how I can best help you with that? So if you're okay with it, just write yes, and I can kind of go over that with you a little bit. Okay. 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 So I'll just talk a little bit about it. So I'll share this opportunity with you. So what I do typically is I do a call called a Sleep Better Breakthrough Call. And it's a call that yourself and me will have. It's a 45-minute kind of clarity call. And you could just kind of, or we are able to discuss your personal situation and kind of connect that way too. I know I'm certainly not the only one in the sleep consulting world, and there's lots of other people doing this, but a lot of them might work with babies as well too. But as far as I know, I'm really the one that kind of specializes with working with midlife women too. And I have experience working with women that want that restorative sleep without having to take sleep medication. So I'm going to put in the chat right now. Hopefully this works. Do you love tech? Yes, it did work. Okay. Anyway, there it is. So I put the link to book a call with me. And that would be the first step. So you would just book a call with me with that schedule, and we would just have a conversation. And what we would do is I would understand your personal situation, what you've tried, how long this has been going on for, what are your main issues, main struggles, what's your goal, all that kind of stuff. And I just get to know you a little bit better. And obviously you get to know me a little bit better. And then we can kind of see where you are and come up with a game plan as well too. So that's what I like to do, because I really kind of want to know your personal situation, and just to make sure we're a good fit, to make sure I can 100% help you. And if I can't, I will certainly refer you, or you will not leave empty-handed for sure. But that's what I like to do for everybody as well too. So it just kind of helps me get clarity of what's going on as well too. All right. And the call is totally 100% free. There's no catch or anything like that. There's no gimmicks or that. I just like to have, if I'm going to work with someone during the program, I just like to kind of get to know them a little bit better and find out this situation. So first off, really it's my mission right now. The second mission in my second half of my life is to support midlife women get that restful sleep in a way that really doesn't involve taking sleep medication. I really want to offer value first by even doing this training for you as well too. And I know I can help you overcome some of those barriers that may have been stopping you from achieving getting that restful deep sleep in a super short period of time too. And I also know that for many of you listening, that you also want some of that personalized support as well too, and accountability, because let's face it, that is half of the problem too, is having that accountability and someone to talk to kind of guide you and give you those little baby steps along the way too. So if you're someone that for you to succeed in anything, then having that accountability, then I think it would be good to book that call. Yep, the call is free. It is free, Susan. Yep. Then we, if we feel like we're a good fit, then we can certainly discuss next step on the call and go from there as well too. And if not, that's completely okay too. You leave the call with value. I really want you to come away from the call with you knowing what to do next. All right. That's really my goal. Whether it's working with me or not working with me, I want you not to stay stuck. I want you to have a game plan to move forward. So you're not like this for months, years. And sadly, I've, some women, it's been going on for a long time. So, also I will say this though, if you're looking for a quick fix or a magic pill or, that kind of thing to sleep, then I'm probably not your person because I really want to support your hormones and your mind as well too. So that's how it's going to work that way too. I'm just going to go through some of these slides. I forgot to move some of this. Yeah. So again, sleep better, break the call. We focus on getting clarity around what the problem is, what's working, what isn't working, and how we can move forward. Again. So this call is not for you, really, if you don't take responsibility for success, because I can meet you halfway, but ultimately, I want to work with someone who's motivated for it as well too. Again, you're not looking for a quick fix because you really want to be interested in your health and well-being as well too, because that's important. They all are connected. And also you have to give, patience with yourself. This is not something that it's not fixed or whatever you want to say in a week or two. It does take time, but that's the best way to do anything too. And you want to learn how your body works and really to educate you as well too. The call's not for you if you're not committed to getting restful sleep. And again, you're not open-minded to trying new ways of doing things as well too. But I will say the call is for you if you are ready to stop doing all the things that don't work and actually focus on a proven system that does work. It's for you if the road to success isn't straight. It's ups and downs. Sometimes it can be a little windy, but you're committed. And also that you're coachable, because that's key as well too. And you're someone that asks for support and accountability. And also you're tired of trying things that don't work and are done kind of just getting short-term results as well too. All right, so that's kind of, if you're one of those categories, if you're that, then the call would be work for you as well too. All right, so I'm going to do some Q&A as well too. These are just common questions that I get, and certainly I will stay afterwards if there's other questions. So how long is the call? I'm just going to talk about this for a little bit. I typically book about 45 minutes just so we're not rushed, and I give you the proper amount of time as well too. So you have lots of time as well. All right, great. I'm looking forward to talking to you, Susan. Next question, what's the catch? Like I said, there's no catch. It really is to get clarity on what is going on so you can move forward. That is my goal for you. And that's what I want you to leave the call feeling good about your direction that you're going in. That really is what I want for you. Do you call me or I call you? When we book the call, I have your phone number and I just call you on a good old fashioned phone. It's not on Zoom. You don't have to see me. We don't have to look at each other like this. I can actually put my camera on too. I can look at this here. Can you see me now? Yeah, so we just talk on the phone. I just need a phone number. That's all I really need. I've tried everything to fall asleep. Will this really help? Again, we will get clarity on the phone call about what your specific situation is, and I know if I can help you. And because again, I kind of, this is the group of women I like to help, and I know what's generally going on. And so, yeah, we can help you even if everything else hasn't worked before in the past. Yes, if you're in perimenopause or menopause, this is who I specifically like to help. I'll be honest, when I was having sleep issues, I looked around and all of the mainstream sleep advice was pretty generic. And I know, in even looking to help women, that we have special needs. There's a lot going on and hormones are changing, and there's nuances of what's going on in this part of our life too. So I've determined, and this is really the women I like to help. So most of the women, every woman I've worked with is in perimenopause or menopause. So, I'm not working with 20-year-olds. I'm not working with men. Even though they reached out, I really want to, be specific in who I help as well too. All right. So, yeah. So your sleep is important. So let's see. If you have any other questions, certainly you can put them in the chat, and I will answer them here too. If you have any, how are we for time? Oh, we did well. I'm on time. Sometimes I get going. I wanted to give us an hour, and then I was pretty good. So anybody else have any questions, or did you learn anything you didn't know, were surprised? Or is this information that you've known before, but sometimes it's just good to hear again as well too. Sometimes we just need that constant kind of repetition as well too. So I always think it's good to hear things too. Sometimes you're in the right frame of mind where the same information is kind of relevant at a specific amount of time. Thank you, Amy. Yes, good. Yes, lots to work with as well. I get that. Yeah, it's a good starting point too. And then it's just kind of taking the information and kind of going from there. So yeah, so for those of you that have booked calls, I'm looking forward to speaking to you. It's probably going to be next week, I'm assuming, just based on the schedule. You are welcome, Lisa. I will be recording this. I have been recording this, so I will have replays for those of you that weren't able to make it as well too. And again, if you have any questions related to any of the topic of the information, certainly reach out, and I will be following up, with all of you as well too. You are very, very welcome, Roberta and Gwen. I'm glad you all could make it here, and you actually gave yourself this hour of time to devote for your sleep. And this is, again, part of your self-care as well, taking care of yourself, because if you're sleeping well, it translates into so many other aspects of your life, as I'm sure we're all aware. Alrighty, so, okay, if there's no other questions, I will let you all go. It's 8 o'clock for me, and booked. Good. You're welcome. And I need to get off my technology at 9 o'clock. So because I want to sleep again tonight. So I am really kind of do walk the talk. So, all right. You are welcome, Cynthia. So thank you all for showing up tonight. Thank you all for taking the time. And again, I hope it was helpful, and I hope you learned something. And for those of you that I'm speaking to, I look forward to getting to know you a little bit more and getting you started. The call link again, I think I'll type it in here again. There it is. So that's just the link to my calendar. So it'll take you there, and it'll show you my calendar and then the times I have available. It'll probably be for next week. That's what I probably have open. And so it'll be for next week. That's the call link. And that's the call. It's about a 45-minute call. I would give yourself about that length of time. All right. If you need it again, I can send it to you another time as well too. All right, ladies. Well, thank you all again for showing up, and I look forward to speaking to some of you. So hopefully you'll sleep a little bit better tonight, and you can take some action steps from what you learned tonight and move forward. Again, information is one thing, but you need to apply it. And again, just do baby steps. You don't have to do it all at one time. If you do take one thing that you learned tonight and do that consistently, and then add another step. Again, baby steps. Don't overwhelm yourself. It really doesn't have to be that hard. Okay, so, all right. Well, I will let you all get to your evening. I hope you have a lovely rest of your night, depending on what time zone you are in. And maybe we'll talk soon. All right, so I'll let you all go. And we will shut this down. Okay. All right. Goodbye, everyone.